My
Hi,
name's Leslie,
Hey, Leslie.
and I'm going to be walking you through this session today. Before we begin, I have some information for you, and I'm going to read it over to make sure I cover everything. You probably already have a good idea of why we've asked you here, but let me go over it again briefly. We're asking people to try using a website that we're working on so we can see whether it works as intended. Our session should take about an hour. And the first thing I want to make clear right away is that we're testing the site, not you. You can't do anything wrong here. In fact, this is probably the one place today where you don't have to worry about making mistakes. As you use the site, I'm going to ask you as much as possible to try to think out loud. To say what you're looking at, what you're trying to do, what you're thinking. This will be a big help to us. Also, please don't worry that you're going to hurt our feelings. We're doing this to improve the site, so we need to hear your honest reactions. If you have any questions as we go along, just ask them. I may not be able to answer them right away since we're interested in how people do when they don't have someone sitting next to them to help. But if you still have any questions when we're done, I'll try to answer them then. And if you need to take a break at any point, just let me know. You may have noticed the microphone. With your permission, we're going to record what happens on the screen and our conversation. This recording will only be used to help us figure out how to improve the site and won't be seen by anyone except the people working on this project. Alright, so do you have any questions so far?
Nope.
Alright, so before we look at the site, I'd like to ask you a few quick questions. First, what's your occupation? What do you do all day?
Oh, well, I'm a student or a caterer and then also a server at Foam Brewers.
That's fun.
Yeah, so it's a great time.
Now, roughly how many hours a week altogether, just a ballpark estimate, would you say you spend using the internet, including web browsing and email?
Oh my goodness. Wow, probably like upwards of 5 hours a day. Okay, so 3 hours total a day. Like probably close to 24 hours in a week, I guess. That's scary.
You're the lowest that anyone said.
Oh, really?
And now, what's the split between email and browsing? A rough percentage.
Probably mostly browsing, like 70-30 maybe, probably, yeah.
Okay. And what kind of sites are you looking at when you browse the web?
Like media sites like YouTube or like, since I'm a soccer nerd, I'll be on like blogs or stuff related to that, and like news sites and media sites, I guess.
Okay. And do you have any favorite websites?
Reddit for sure. Still YouTube, Reddit, YouTube. I like Bleacher Report a lot. And Deadspin.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay, great. We're done with all the questions and we can start looking at things. So first I'm going to ask you to look at this page and tell me what you make of it. What strikes you about it, whose site you think it is, what you can do here, what it's for. Just look around and do a little narrative. You can scroll, but right now I'm going to ask you to not click on anything.
Okay. Well, right off the bat, it's a site for UVM's synchro skating team. Probably something where you can go and see like upcoming events or like look to join the team. Yeah, like probably just a site about what the team is, how like who's on the team, and then how you can see their like competitions or join their team.
Awesome. So now I'm going to ask you to do some specific tasks. I'm going to read each one out loud, and I'm going to ask you to do the task without using the search tab.
Right.
We'll learn a lot more about how the site works that way. Again, as much as possible, talking out loud, or thinking out loud, really helps us. So first, can you tell me what shows the team performs in?
Okay, so I'm going to go to competitions because that seems like the relevant tab. Okay, so competitions and shows, and then so it looks like they're in the Boston Synchronized Skating Classic, Eastern Synchro Skating Sectional Championships, So those are the competitions. And then there's shows, the UVM Figure Skating Show and Middlebury College Winter Carnival Ice Show. It's a mouthful.
Cool, thank you. Next, could you tell me who the captains are?
Captains, okay. So I'll go to leadership, either leadership or members. Leadership, okay, so we got coach and captain. So Samantha Shanks, Kate Wettergreen, both captains.
Cool, thank you. And lastly, can you tell me how you can join the team?
Okay, so I think probably be contact. How to join, yep. Tryouts, okay, so tryouts are held at the beginning of the fall semester. Okay, you can contact the captains if you have questions. So a tryout is required for the synchro team. Skaters of all ability levels are welcome to join the freestyle team in the club. So depending, if you want to join synchro, it looks like you have to make a tryout.
Thank you. That's very helpful and concludes my questions. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I'm all set.
Thanks for your time.
Of course.